Hi, everyone. Welcome to the special edition of our Web3 Voice talk show. And today we are exploring how blockchain infrastructure is powering real world innovation, especially startups, working in the enterprise domain. And in this case, we are looking at transforming the automotive industry, especially data compliances, data management, and plethora of use cases coming out of it. With me, I have two brilliant guests, Francis, who is the founder and CEO of CodeNekt, a very fast-growing automotive Web3 startup that's leveraging Avalanche L1 for vehicle identity and maintenance. And we also have Martin Eckardt, Senior Director at Avalabs, the powerhouse behind Avalanche and the Avalanche L1 stack. And my name is Ravi. I'm the co-founder CEO of Zeeve. And we are very thrilled to be supporting this journey through Zeeve Cognitus, a one-click Avalanche L1 deployment and infra management platform. So first of all, I would like to welcome Francis and Martin on this. And before we get on to details, a quick introduction as to, about yourself and how your Web3 journey has been so far. So Francis, starting with you.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Ravi, Martin. Thank you for having us here. So, I've been an entrepreneur for 26, 27 years in the IT ecosystem. And I've been involved in blockchain through personal approach because I was interested in cryptocurrency 2016, 2017. And when then I had the idea of building CodeNekt and traceability for vehicle industry, I obviously thought about blockchain as a stack for this. So that's how I've been involved in the blockchain space professionally.
Got it. Very exciting. And Martin, a brief introduction and your journey.
Yes, sure. So I'm Martin. I'm leading the developer relations function here at Avalanche, and I'm incredibly excited. I got into blockchain through research. I studied at Cornell Tech in New York City and was lucky enough to do some work with Ari Jules and his PhDs, and got very excited about stuff that is kind of like more happening under the hood, but also in the application layer in the blockchain ecosystem. And then eventually I joined the Avalanche ecosystem, and then eventually also Avalabs as a developer relations engineer, and took over the function eventually. So super excited to work in the realm of multi-chain systems and how they enable kind of like these ones like CodeNekt to really build interesting applications on chain that are pretty innovative.
No, absolutely. Thanks, Francis and Martin. So Francis, starting with you, the core of what is the core problem that you're solving at CodeNekt, whether it be vehicle owners or fleet owners and businesses. So brief about what CodeNekt is and how it is solving. And then at the same time, why you chose blockchain.
Yes. Well, the first need was to avoid scams when you buy a used car, because today when you buy a car, you don't have the full history of the vehicle. You don't know all what has been done on the car. You don't know the maintenance. Sometimes you don't have all the documents, etc. So we need to solve this problem. And well, from the beginning, we wanted to build a solution on the blockchain to avoid any manipulation of the information, to avoid modification of the mileage, for example. Because of course, when the data is on the blockchain, it can be modified by design. But we wanted to guarantee that all the information is real and that we have all the events of the car registered. So on the blockchain and then verified by the different stakeholders. So that's why we built this layer one.
And what is the purpose of using blockchain tech? Traditionally, we have seen a lot of Web2 applications also have been designed, which has got data security. So where do you think blockchain fits in very well into the use case?
Yeah, blockchain for this can bring interoperability to all the stakeholders. Today, all the actors work in silos. You have the manufacturers, you have the insurers, the rental companies, etc. And all the information is not distributed between all these actors. So we need to have something that can be interoperable and managed by a third party, because if you have, I don't know, for example, General Motors, they don't want to share their data with other actors, but they have to, because if you want to have this full traceability, you have to to collect the information from everyone, and having a blockchain that can communicate with different IT systems, different type of actors, etc., and bring value to the user, because the value is for the user at the end. So the blockchain can help to solve this problem, and not IT classical systems.
No, I think you have made some very interesting points, and you are absolutely right. I think digital record management, whether it be data provenance or data storage or data accessibility with proper access controls, I think blockchain is the apt technology to deliver on these kind of use cases or challenges. So just one follow-up question. So traditionally, we have seen enterprises using some of the permission chains of yesterdays, like Hyperledger or R3 code. And then, we have seen some startups, even if they're working on the enterprise use case, they may launch directly on a public chain. Why, in your case, you chose to go with Avalanche L1, your own custom blockchain using Avalanche L1 stack?
Yeah, you're right. Well, from the beginning, we need to combine, performance, of course, control and compliance, and all this require, require something very specific for the industry. And it's not, as I said, it's not just about a cryptographic transactions, whatever. We handle critical vehicle data, ownership records, maintenance history, insurance, and even environmental compliance. So this means that high through data confidentiality, interoperability, and industrial systems. So at the long term, traceability for all these needs is essential. It's an essential criteria. And our architecture is designed to support tokenized vehicle as real world assets as well. So we need a native blockchain to support all these things from the start. So yeah, that's why we had to build something for the industry, and to be more comprehensive for them, for the different actors.
No, absolutely. I think you have covered some very strong points about the L1 stack, whether it be scalability, tens of thousands of TPAs, with control over the user experience with gasless transactions or data privacy. Now, I would like to, but as we know, the Avalanche L1 stack is powerful in many other ways. And Martin, if you can walk us through the Avalanche L1 modularity, and how it helps not just to launch permissionless L1s, but also fits in use cases as CodeNekt, direct enterprises or startups working in the enterprise space.
Yeah, sure. So I think there are many different aspects to layer one blockchains, right? And I think zooming out, the real power of L1s is that they give the builders full control over the entire stack, right? So that means including the execution environment, things around transaction fees, so full on economics, but also permissioning, confidentiality, and all these different kind of features here, right? And these are sometimes more difficult to achieve in other technical settings, but with L1s, right, you have full control over their entire stack and no dependencies with other layers or anything like that. So diving deep into that, right, what does that mean, right? Especially for teams like CodeNekt, right, that want to offer their service, but obviously want to be set up for growth. So ideally, in a few years from now, it won't be a few cars on chain, but there are many cars in the world. So really opening the door to being scalable and being able to do that in an economic way, where you can have, where your cost ideally do not grow with your business, right? That's really what's there. So Avalanche L1s really offer a way where there's more a stable infrastructure cost, and then you can grow your business without worrying about that cost going up, right? And then I think there's definitely things like privacy, since your L1s are standalone blockchains. They don't settle anywhere. The data isn't going anywhere. It's all staying within that L1. So things like compliance, confidentiality of the data, they are much easier to achieve, because we can actually use a blockchain as we know it and as it's being used on Ethereum, but just kind of put it into a walled garden if it's necessary, right? Other approaches are a lot more difficult, right? Like on-chain encryption, full homomorphic encryption are all possible, but they introduce a lot of technical overhead, economic overhead. So kind of like this walled garden approach has been really what has been shown in industry standard, and because it's just easy and effective. And then, like going even further, right? Like you can look into customizability, KYC requirements, and all that kind of thing, that you can be sure that, like everything that is happening on your chain is actually what you want to be on your chain, right? Like you don't want just anyone to deploy a smart contract, someone launch an NFT collection on your enterprise blockchain or anything like that, right? Like these are all these things that are really easy with Avalanche. And that's why I think it's gaining more and more popularity in the enterprise and institutional space.
Got it. I think that's a very interesting set of features. And I think we are in the middle of it. We have been working with Avalanche subnets for quite some time. And then later on with the new rebranded version, the Avalanche L1. So yeah, so Martin, I think Avalanche L1 is very, very lean with predictable cost, as you rightly said, on the infrastructure side. And at the same time, massive amount of flexibility you get in terms of configs, from guestless to your own defined gas configs, to managing the validator set, permissionless nature to permissioned, or somewhere in between, data compliances. So I think these are some incredible points. And I think rightly, Avalanche L1 is gaining a lot of traction in the last 6 months. And we are seeing many, many more people, even we are seeing a lot of startups and enterprises moving from the earlier stacks and looking at Avalanche L1 very closely. So one more follow-up question, Martin. So how Avalanche is evolving to support more vertical specific customers like CodeNekt. We are seeing a lot of enterprise use cases are gaining a lot of traction, whether it be RWA, DeepIn, or AI. And we are seeing a lot of enterprise participation coming into, which is a very good for the ecosystem, because we have seen enterprises adoption has been very slow in the initial few years, but now I think it is growing. So how do you think Avalanche is supporting, and what all you are doing apart from the infrastructure stack, which is awesome, but what are other things that you are bringing to help the ecosystem grow?
Yes. So I think there are a few things that you need to get started on chain, right? Like obviously you need a blockchain. You got that with an L1. But then there are many, many follow-up questions with like, okay, like now you have your blockchain, you have a very economic solution for your application, but like you don't want to be on your small island, like just by yourself, right? You need maybe things like stablecoins, liquidity. Maybe you need interoperability with networks within the Avalanche network, but also beyond. Right? Like, so I think one big theme in our ecosystem that we've been working on for a while and that we are very happy with is that we actually brought into production real interoperability between the chains in the Avalanche ecosystem. So, like today you can go to Zeeve, for example, they spin up your one and they will be able to, like in a very short time, without talking to any third parties or you paying any integration fee or anything, right? Like they can set up a bridge for, let's say, a stablecoin USDC, for example, to your L1. Right? And that bridge is secured by the Avalanche network, right? So that is incredibly powerful, right? Like that you can do that without, like any third parties, without massive costs. So at a very economic price point, you can set up your own block space that is connected. And you can also set even further bridges, that take you to Ethereum or Solana or wherever you need to go, right? So that is one very, very important theme. And then I think really kind of like the whole suite of products around it, right? Like indexing, making this all very seamless. And I do know that Zeeve has really pioneered in this space also, right? Like indexing, block explorers, everything you need just from the start, right? Like you can get out of the box with your L1. And I think that what makes it very attractive for many enterprises, also a lot of gaming projects. And yeah, because you can get all these benefits of L1s without having, like to take cuts on the integration side and all that.
Got it. No, I think that's pretty interesting. And Martin, still, I would like to add a few points. I think you're helping much, much more than what you just mentioned. So there is a massive grant program and support structure within Avalanche. We have seen customers who want to seek help specific to, let's say, AI or RWA, and there are specific domain specific experts within Avalanche who can help with them and connect them and make connections or whatever help a startup requires in the initial journey.
Yeah.
And there's a massive Retro 9000 grant program that again helps the startups in their initial journey, becomes very, very helpful. And it's not just the capital, but it's about the overall support that Avalanche has been providing. So I thought that I'll add a couple of points here because
I
we
think
have been telling all these points to all our customers
yeah.
as well.
So in the Avalanche Foundation, right? Like there's Ava Labs and there's also the Avalanche Foundation, and there are many teams that are working either vertical specific. So there's an own ecosystem growth team for gaming, an own ecosystem growth team for institutions that are trying to make the journey of the L1 as seamless as possible and connect them and really enable these network effects, right? Like because Avalanche is a multi-chain network, and there is already a large number of L1s, but like hopefully in the future we will see many more of them, thousands if not more. So that's what we're all going for. And these, like it's good to have them all in a network, but it only becomes really powerful when they are connected, they work with each other, they are interoperable, and like these networks effect really take off. And yeah, so our team is super happy to like help with technical support from the developer relations side, but also ecosystem growth support, meaning making connections, helping fundraising, and then obviously also from the grant and financial side. With the foundation, there's the InfraBiddle projects, InfraBiddle AI, Retro 9000, retroactive grants. Yeah, so many different offerings, and we're trying to work with the L1s very effectively to get them to success.
Oh, absolutely. I think everyone agrees to that. And Francis, you can see you have chosen L1. I think that's a pretty right choice. So Francis, what does your roadmap looks like? Any exciting features or partnerships that are coming in? Any new use cases that you see that we are going to see in the next 1 year?
Well, we are integrating our first technical partners in the automotive ecosystem. So through our mobile apps, because our users have a mobile app and a SaaS platform for companies. So we are integrating the partners to involve them in the journey of the user through our app, and all the information that are collected from these partners will be stored in the NFT of the car. So this is the first feature for us, and this is how we collect this data for the traceability. The next level will be the RWA part, because as you have the full information of the car in an NFT, its certificates, its document, etc. You can have the value of this car, and this value is used for the RWA part, and this is what we are building, now and for the following months. So this is a new, I think. I can say new era for vehicle ownership, even new use cases as vehicle sharing, lending, etc. So this new use case is pretty good design.
Got it. No, I think that's a pretty ambitious roadmap, and we definitely, are with you to support you in any ways on the infra side. And we wish you all the best, to achieve all these features that you have planned. So one last question, since, all our podcasts are very much focused on, you know, helping startups with their go-to-market, but at the same time, the young budding startups who are getting into Web3. So in this case, any builders out there who want to launch their own L1. So what advice would you like to give to such founders, starting with Martin?
Yeah. I think really look at how you can choose a future-proof stack that can grow with your business. I think that's really important, like not getting impressed by any short-term gains or, like very attractive programs, right? Like we've seen many projects that are trying to build something and then eventually they hit the limits of the stack they chosen in early on for technical reasons or just, I don't know, business reasons, and really think about like, okay, this is such an integral part of your product. If it doesn't work, like it's gonna put a lot of challenges on the engineering team, on the business team. Timelines are getting hard to hit. So, like I'd really tell them, like look out for that critical decision. Choose something that is battle tested, choose something that is working in practice and that has a very clean track record, I'd say.
No, absolutely. I think absolutely on point. I totally agree with this. We have worked with various stacks and we know that there are lots and lots of protocols who have launched the stack, but I just would like to say that it's actually a very huge endeavor to launch a stack because it takes a lot of commitment, it requires a lot of resources, and then critical nature because these stacks die out. So to have us, like as you rightly said, battle tested, that means a stack which is highly mature, which has got massive adoption, And then there is an ecosystem around that to support all the builders out there. I think that's super, super important. And I think L1 is absolutely awesome in all these regards. Francis, what you would like to say to budding builders?
Yes, well, I totally agree with what you both said. We need as a startup, we need to be focused on our vision, and our core business. So we have developers, we have a team, everything is okay, but an infrastructure needs. I think it's good to have partners who can do this, and so we can stay focused on our core business. And this team, and our choice was Zeeve, and for us, Zeeve ensures, of course, the deployment of the layer one, but also availability. Zeeve offers as well scalability, etc. So if we need to scale, we know that we have a partner that can help us with that, and we don't have to work on all the infrastructure, the pure technical side of the infrastructure. It's here because we need it, and we don't need to build something that already exists, and we have Zeeve as a partner for that. So be focused on your vision as a startup, and let others do the technical infrastructure parts.
So thanks, Francis. I think that's a very strong point. And I just would like to add another point to that, be very focused on the problem statement, what problem you're solving, because end of the day, it's all about solving a real problem. And then, it will be very easy to acquire users, get transactions, build community, build your ecosystem, and have a massive growth in whatever venture you are building out there. So thanks. I think this has been an incredible conversation. I think what CodeNekt is building is a textbook example of how real world industries can be transformed using blockchain tech. And so thanks a lot, Francis, for sharing your CodeNekt journey. I think it will be helpful for lots and lots of budding builders. And thanks a lot to Martin to help us understand the power behind Avalanche and the Avalanche L1 ecosystem, and how Avalanche is helping builders with not just an awesome tech stack, but also other ways, where they are helping builders, and not just in the crypto native space, but lots of enterprises and startups who are working in the enterprise space. So thanks once again for joining. And with that, I would like to say, keep building, keep smiling.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, thank you. Cool. I think.